Coming up on Network Africa. Candidates in Ghana's presidential election sign a peace pact ahead of December the 7th election. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa tightens restrictions in the Eastern Cape province following increased COVID-19 cases. Plus, 3 members of a leading Egyptian human rights group detained in Cairo last month regained their freedom. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. We begin in Ghana, where the 2 main presidential candidates have signed a peace pact in the capital, Accra, committing to peace and not violence before, during and after the election. Monday, December 7th is the D-Day, and President Nana Akufo-Addo of the ruling party New Patriotic Party is going head-to-head with former President John Mahama of the National Democratic Congress Party. This is President Akufo-Addo's 3rd head-to-head with Mr. Mahama, who narrowly won their first encounter in 2012 before losing to Akufo-Addo in 2016 by more than 9 percentage points. Both presidential candidates have promised more spending to help smooth economic recovery, and the ruling NPP's promises include a proposed rent support scheme, while the NDC party has vowed to create 1 million jobs. Well, the Constitutional Court in the Central African Republic has said that former President Francois Bozize cannot run for election in the vote scheduled for the 27th of December. The court barred him as he is facing allegations of murder and torture and has had UN sanctions slapped on him. He was president for 10 years until 2013, when his overthrow precipitated years of violent chaos. Mr. Bozize was seen as the main electoral rival to current President Faustin Archange Touadera. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has tightened restrictions in the Eastern Cape province that has recorded increased COVID-19 cases. The president introduced a night curfew in the eastern Nelson Mandela Bay area that is now the new hotspot in the country. It's the largest municipality in the Eastern Cape province and has recorded 132,149 cases out of the country's over 800,000 cases. Consumption of alcohol in public areas like beaches has been banned starting Thursday in a move the president said would reduce social gatherings. President Ramaphosa urges people to observe the rules and restrictions put in place to prevent the spread of the virus.
A recommendation of the National Coronavirus Command Council, and after consultation with premiers, metro mayors and traditional leaders, Cabinet has decided to declare the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality as a coronavirus hotspot. In addition to the existing Alert Level 1 regulations, the following additional restrictions will apply in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro with effect from midnight tonight. The first is that the hours of the curfew will be from 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. This means that, except for emergencies, no person may be outside their place of residence between these times. This does not apply to essential workers who are permitted to work during these hours. Secondly, the sale of alcohol from retail outlets will only be permitted between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. from Monday to Thursday. Thirdly, alcohol consumption in public spaces such as the beautiful beaches, of the area and parks is strictly forbidden. This is necessary to prevent large social gatherings that often take place in those spaces. Fourthly, gatherings, including religious gatherings, may not be attended by more than 100 people for indoor events and 250 for outdoor events. At all times, the total number of people in a venue may not exceed more than 50% of the capacity of the venue, that is the carrying capacity of the venue. And finally, all post-funeral gatherings that are now regarded as after-tears parties are prohibited. These additional measures are necessary to contain the resurgence that we are experiencing right now in Nelson Mandela Bay, to prevent outbreaks resulting from social gatherings, and to protect the capacity of our healthcare system to provide care for those who need it.
Well, over in Libya, it's business as usual despite the rise in coronavirus cases. As cases spiral in the country, citizens reveal mixed attitudes towards what some doctors believe is a looming second wave that should be addressed quickly by the authorities.
At a market in Misrata, dozens gathered to buy food, household supplies and clothes, standing barefaced and shoulder to shoulder as they browse through the items. Few people are wearing protective masks. Ali Al-Kundaidi, an elderly citizen, had himself previously tested positive for the virus, briefly rendering him unconscious. Having recovered, Al-Kundaidi understands the dangers of the disease and is one of the few people wearing a mask at the market.
It is spreading all over the world. I was infected by it, and thank God, God healed me. People should not be afraid. If we were afraid, we would never leave our homes and would not be able to resume our lives.
Abdurrahman Al-Swash, supervisor of diagnostic unit at the COVID-19 testing center in Misrata, says coronavirus cases are on a continuous rise in Libya, with over 93,000 cases and more than 1,100 deaths.
In past months, the percentage of daily positive cases did not exceed 10%. Now, it is up to 34 or 35%. This increase has to be addressed by the Libyan authorities to find a quick solution, because the problem is getting worse and the coronavirus continues to claim people's lives.
In the east, stores and malls operate with few restrictions in Benghazi. Most do not wear masks. Some medics warn of devastating effects of a second wave, urging the government to take action.
In Egypt, 3 members of a leading Egyptian human rights group detained in Cairo last month have been freed following a widespread international criticism. The men who worked for the Egyptian Initiative for Personal Rights, EIPR, were accused of links with a terror group and spreading false news. Notable celebrities Emma Thompson, Stephen Fry and Scarlett Johansson joined politicians in criticizing these arrests that the UN's Human Rights Agency described as chilling. EIPR is an independent group whose work covers a variety of political, civil, economic and social issues. However, a researcher for the group, Patrick Zaki, who was arrested in February, is still in detention. EIPR says he is being held on suspicion of spreading fake news, misusing social media, and inciting protest without permission. Well, we have joining us now on the program Edward Yerenian, VOA's correspondent in Cairo. Thank you so much, Edward, for speaking to us on the program.
My pleasure, Lio.
Now, must be such a relief for these rights activists regaining their freedom. What has been the reaction to this release, locally and even internationally? Because we know some celebrities were interested in this case.
Well, I can only give you a reaction word of mouth because it's not a subject that was really covered in the Egyptian media. And obviously, those people who work in this field are pleased. Diplomats, several diplomats, I guess, who were involved in this, trying to get them released, were expressing pleasure. Of course, internationally, it's difficult to judge because you see on Twitter a lot of things that are trending, and I've personally had Twitter spit out things that I've tweeted, and then they go around and create their own trends. So I don't know what's trending and what's not really. But in any case, I'm sure a lot of people are pleased that they were released.
And what do we know about their welfare?
Well, we know that the founder of the group said that they're back home and they're doing okay. Other than that, there's been no video of them to show how they look. But I assume that the government would not have mistreated them, especially since they were dealing on a regular basis with foreign diplomats and had no interest really to harm them. I guess they were trying to make a point. And I'm not sure who made their point on this, but in any case, it seems like the situation has been resolved.
But, a researcher for the group who was arrested in February, that is Zaki, he's still in detention. Is there a reason for his continued arrest?
It's tough to speculate, really, because the government, the intelligence agencies have their own motivations. They investigate people, and they have something that might be a reason to them that might not be a reason to those in the general public. Also, it's possible, I believe he was coming from Italy. The French government put up a bit of a fuss about the arrests of the three others because Egypt's President Sisi, will be visiting France very, very soon. Perhaps because he's not going to Italy, there was less pressure on that front.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Edward Yerenian, VOA's correspondent in Cairo. Always a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you, Layo.
Well, a leading official from the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, has said the fighting in the north of Ethiopia is not over, announcing on its Tigray TV, a station which is controlled by the party. Now, this is in stark contrast with the national broadcaster ETV that reported for the first time from Mekelle on Wednesday and spoke to residents who described the atmosphere as peaceful. The state TV channels have offered varying accounts of developments from Tigray days after federal forces said it took control of the capital, Mekelle. Tigray TV has continued to broadcast intermittently breaking news on the fighting that it says has continued on all fronts. It is currently broadcasting from an unknown location. The TPLF's Getachew Reda said that the war was continuing on different fronts. Now, getting verified information from Tigray continues to be difficult as communications in most of the region are still cut. In the meantime, a senior European Union official says that providing swift humanitarian relief in Ethiopia is challenging because aid workers still did not have unimpeded access. Speaking at a refugee camp in Sudan, Janez Lenarčič, European Commissioner for Crisis Management, has had no contact with more than 100 of its citizens in Tigray since the conflicts began, because of the communication blockade and prevention of access.
Minister was kind enough to promise she will look into these matters and try to find solutions very soon in the coming days. I hope this will happen. According to my current information, this is still not the case. There is still no full and unimpeded access by the humanitarians, who are therefore unable to assess the needs in Tigray. They are unable to provide assistance, and they are unable to monitor that the aid actually goes to those who need it. Second, there is continued communication blackout, which makes our understanding of the situation very incomplete and our work very difficult. So I do hope that the authorities in Ethiopia will do away with the communication blockade forthwith. And second, that they will allow full, unimpeded access to humanitarians. We are not even there yet. You know, the convoys that were supplying the region before the hostilities began were stopped when the military operation started, and they have still not moved. That's the situation. As for the new humanitarian aid that would address the new needs that arise from this most recent escalation, we first have to assess the needs. Let me just say that when I come here, because I came here, one of the reasons why I came here is that Tigrayan refugees are here, and I'm not able to go to Tigray, so I came here.
Still ahead on the program. Young budding Nigerian teenagers create a Beg mobile application that helps you request and send money seamlessly. We'll give you more details after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. A team of millennials have designed a fintech application that will make peer-to-peer mobile payments seamless. Paying attention to user experience, the platform leverages on users' tags to request and send money. The application is called a Beg, Pidgin English for please. In other words, please send me money. This team of millennials at Abeg Technologies have set out on a journey that will make requesting and sending money fun. By developing a fintech application that appeals to the younger generation in Nigeria, they design one that breaks the rules with current fintech startups. According to the team, it all began with a tweet in December 2018, where someone suggested having an application in Nigeria that can be used to beg online. A beg is a widely used term when pleading or seeking favors in Nigeria, which is why they thought it would be the perfect brand name.
We're trying to get a name that everyone could relate to in the African market, and if you hear the name Abeg, it's relatable. When people want to ask for something, especially in the African society, some people say Abeg please, just saying, so it sticks.
This is not the first ever digital wallet app, but the team sought to create a platform where people can ask and send money in a fun and convenient way, especially among their circle of friends.
We're trying to solve the problem of failing transactions mainly, so that's why we're introducing P2P. So we want you to imagine a world where you don't have to, when paying for services or trying to send money to your friend, you don't have to worry about downtimes. So it's just as fast as blinking your eye, basically. As young people building an application, we're trying to tackle it from our own point of view. That's why our main target is actually the younger people. So we're trying to make the whole thing intuitive and fun as well.
Unlike the traditional bank applications, the solution simplifies processes, paying more attention to user experience. Without the need to add bank account details, users can make transactions by creating a tag which can be used to send or request for money. All they need is a phone number linked to their BVN. Likened to America's Cash App, the peer-to-peer platform aims to simplify how money payments are done.
The long-term goal of the application is for us to penetrate the African market just like Cash App has penetrated the market abroad. So want you to imagine a situation whereby you use your traditional bank account to do your normal savings, and then you actually move your spending onto Abeg, which actually makes your day-to-day life easy.
We have things and other features that can actually benefit and solve the problems which people are facing right now in the society in Nigeria, such as Ajo, which will help in managing group contributions, and we have the loans which help manage loans, and other features like fundraising.
Abeg enables its users send and request payments via phone numbers to improve financial inclusion. It also helps solve the problem of slow payments and high transaction costs. Nigeria's contribution to global crude market will soon be replaced with export of technology solutions as the country continues to ensure an enabling environment for techpreneurs. This projection was made by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo during the Art of Technology Lagos 2.0 organized by the Eco Innovation Center and Lagos State Government. Speaking virtually, I beg your pardon, Professor Osinbajo also emphasized the need to ensure proper penetration of broadband internet to enable techpreneurs flourish in their endeavors. Also speaking during the event, Lagos State Governor Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the Lagos Smart City project will soon be a reality. Our technology correspondent, Victor Matthias, reports.
Cities around the world are adopting technologies that will ensure they book their place as smart city initiatives setting around the world witnessing the fourth industrial revolution backed by innovation and technology. In order not to be left out, Lagos State on a yearly basis brings industry experts together to brainstorm on how it can achieve this feat.
For us as a government, we've developed what we call a smart city agenda. And in that our smart city agenda, young forward-looking Nigerians everywhere in the world can indeed come together, right, and create a city that is not only resilient, but a city that works truly for all of us.
For the Vice President, the exports of the next decade lies in the hearts and minds of techpreneurs.
It's now evident that within the next decade, Nigeria will cease to be a country whose main contribution to the world is crude oil. The resources that we have, which are in increasingly high demand globally, are your capacity for innovation, your imagination, your creative content, and your highly adaptive solutions. Your minds and workspaces are the refineries of the present and the future.
Governor Sanwo-Olu unveils Startup Lagos, a platform to avail entrepreneurs the springboard to global success in years to come.
There is very little knowledge about the dynamics of that ecosystem. But with Startup Lagos, people can begin to go to that platform and see, okay, this is what the ecosystem is like. These are the most promising sectors. This is how much funding that has been raised. Oh, this particular startup is in this agri-tech or ed-tech, so this is where I can put my money. So we expect higher investment outcomes from the local markets with Startup Lagos.
The Eco Innovation Center partners is big and highly focused on civic tech, and that's why we have a very strong partnership with Lagos State to curate and bring together the actors in the ecosystem with the policymakers and see how we can move Lagos forward.
Governor Sanwo-Olu says, though the implementation of the Lagos Innovation Plan is still a work in progress, he remains optimistic that the techpreneurs in Nigeria will soon compete with their peers globally. Victor Matthias, Channels Television News.
I have a very imaginative mind, so the way I see the project is, sort of like the whole world holding hands, as I would put it, because it touches in every country in the world. It touches therefore every culture, every people.
This is Channels Television's Breaking News.
And breaking news just in, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has affirmed the judgment of a Federal Capital Territory High Court, which sentenced Miriam Sander to death by hanging for stabbing her husband, Bilyamin Bello, to death. The court dismissed her appeal for lacking in merit. Miriam Sander and 3 others were arraigned by the federal government on a 2-count charge bordering on culpable homicide. She was sentenced to death by the judge, Yusuf Halilu, in January this year. And that's how we end the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke. Have a great weekend.